What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, which is about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and today it's just me and Daniel Acevedo. What's going on, sir?
Doing good. Happy Father's Day edition of the Other Side of the Firewall
Happy
today.
Father's Day. Yes, sir. So we're recording, we do everything batch recording, right? So we do everything on Sunday. Sunday happens to be Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And yeah, just me and Daniel. I think it's the first time it's just been me and you tag teaming it. So I greatly appreciate you spending some of your Father's Day time, because you're 13 hours in the future, right? So you're still, doing your thing. My day just started. But with that being said, definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP. This one will be a really good one coming up. I'm not sure if it'll go out this week or the following week, but I'll be with the C-suite and senior leadership team of Black Girls Hack. So definitely tune in for that one. I'll have 4 guests on the show at once, so it'll be the first time I've done that. So it might take me a little bit longer to edit, but definitely tune in for that one when it drops. And then check out last week's where we talked to Mariah Simone Denson, and she is the founder and president of Global Patch. So that was really good too. Talking about how games lead into IT and cybersecurity as well. So check that one out. But without further ado, I give it to myself. Ken is not here. So our first article comes from Federal News Network. So this one is titled 4 Key Highlights from the Microsoft Cybersecurity Hearing. So we always talk about it, right? These big companies being US based, when they mess up and they are embedded either interwoven into American society as hardcore as Microsoft is, or how they have such a large footprint in the Department of Defense sector and all federal government, as it were, they get pulled to the red carpet, right? They're like, hey, listen, you messed up. Right, Microsoft had that breach where foreign actors, I believe it was attributed to China, were in the email system, and they're reading emails and pulling information. And in the article, they also cite some of the Congress men who were hit the hardest, right, where they actually have receipts of what was pulled from the email servers and things of that nature. So this was a pretty significant breach, and it happened back in April. And now here in July, we are having our first hearing, where they brought in the CEO, or I'm sorry, the president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, to get beat up, basically, like to figure out like why did Microsoft allow this to happen, how bad was it, and what can be done for the future. So I don't want to eat up too much of the key highlights, but I think the biggest one being, for me anyway, that it was they kind of gave him a backhanded compliment as well, which I kind of perceived as a thing that could happen, but I didn't really think it was going to be as vocal, because Microsoft's too big to fail when it comes to their footprint in the Department of Defense. I've been using Microsoft back when I was a wee airman. We had Microsoft Millennial Edition running on some of the PCs, which is crazy to me now to think about it. We jumped from Millennial Edition to Vista. Vista was terrible, to XP, which was great, and then we left XP obviously to go to what we're currently using, which is XP with not the greatest skin in my opinion. But I'm not here to beat up Microsoft. I use their products heavily when it comes to work, teams, and things of that nature. So yeah, it'd be very hard to give them the boot and then switch to someone else. God forbid we were to move to any of the Google stuff, because not to say it's bad, but I don't understand it because I haven't used it for 2 decades. Like I know Microsoft like the back of my hand, right? So it'd be significant to make that jump. So it was like, hey, here's what you did wrong. Tell us what you're going to do in the future, and please do that. So that's my personal opinion of the hearing. But what about you, Daniel?
Now, you made a bunch of great points. I mean, to say that Microsoft is entrenched into the government is not even an understatement. It's like, it's crazy. If the percentages they tell in the article is that, the U.S. government separates 3% of its overall budget for tools and cybersecurity stuff for Microsoft itself. 10% of Microsoft's overall gainings and stuff like that come from the government. So both ways,
that's significant.
It's a crazy amount, right? So both ways, it's a marriage, no matter who wants to admit it or not. So it's beneficial for both of them to be on the same page. Now, the one thing that kind of really jumped out at me in the article is that they said that Microsoft's approach or their outlook on security in general was not where it needed to be. And it's kind of a little surprising to me since Microsoft's such a big organization and kind of has been in this kind of environment for a really long time. So to hear that CISA doing this independent audit of Microsoft would come away with that feeling from the organization is really, really telling, right? And a little scary, to be honest, because if they're that lackadaisical and their posture, their outview and security is not taken seriously, the bottom line, the people that's going to affect is the everyday day-to-day user, right? So our data is not going to be safe. We're heavily using these tools both in our personal lives and in businesses. So if they're not going out and ensuring that the tools that are being used are either, programmed in the correct way, secured and maintained in the correct way, then, it's this is just the tip of the spear, in my opinion, of kind of like exploits and things that are to come down the line. But what do you think, Ryan?
Before I go there, so you gave me opportunities to plug again. Please like, share, subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subs by the end of the month was the goal. We are danger close. I think we're at like 415, 416, so we're almost there.
Nice.
If we don't meet the goal, I still have hope that we'll hit 1,000 by the end of the year. But you can help us out. I feel like that is a charity drive, right? You can help us out by sharing us with your nerdy friends, hyping up the podcast, leaving feedback, things of that nature. We're one of the top 10% podcasts in the world somehow, and it's due to you listening. But we need more feedback. We need more things, more ratings. Like, be honest. Like, I would love 5 stars on every platform that you listen to us on. But give us some honest feedback so we can continue to improve the podcast, and then hopefully get to a point of monetization, so I can have a background. Because right now I got the Bills Mafia flag in the back. All right, help me, help me. But with all that out of the way, so from my standpoint, Microsoft is I think they have a $3 trillion cap now. They're one of
Yeah.
the it's Microsoft, it's Apple, it's Nvidia, and I forget who number four is. Probably Google. I don't know, but uh, either way, they're too big to fail, and it's not a matter of like even if the government shed them, it'd only be 10% of Microsoft, which is a significant amount. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, the rest of the world still uses Microsoft. There won't be
Yeah.
a mass exodus, um, but they're so entrenched. It's easier to fix your problems, and then we could just continue this business relationship, right? As opposed to pulling chalks and like, what do we move to? Like say, hey, Apple, we need we need one, I don't know, like 100 million Apple PCs or what
Yeah.
have you to switch the entire environment. It'd be impossible.
Yeah.
Um,
Train everybody up on
so
Apple software and
yeah,
all that stuff too would be horrible.
yeah, like yeah, it'd be almost impossible. So at the end of the day, they have no choice but to get better, and it really is surprising that because they're the Windows Defender company, they're the Sentinel One
Yeah.
company.
Yep.
So like, what are you doing to improve your products, and what are you doing to prepare for the future, right? Because these attacks are only going to get worse. We've seen where there are already lots of activity in the Asia Pacific area. We have attacks on U.S. soil by what we believe to be Russian state actors, North Korea, Iranian, and Syrian actors as
Iraq.
well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like so we definitely need the protection. So they should be investing more money on their side, on the Microsoft side, to further develop their security suite and tools and protect government assets.
And at the very least, not tripping over their own feet, right? These are some unavoidable things that are happening, right? So the exchange exploit really was that the hackers found an old, I think, you know, cryptographic key from an exchange from the year previously. So that's what CISA is saying is like their practices and security stuff is not to par with how big the organization is and
Right.
how entrenched it is with the government. So, if they had correct cryptographic like, renewals and some of these low-hanging fruit stuff, like it doesn't sound like Microsoft, right? This sounds like something that, maybe a startup company that's, expanding really fast, faster than they can support. Something like this would
Right.
happen to a company like that. But Microsoft, like you said, it's $1 trillion company. They're the number one gainer right now in the US. I think they're still top dog. NVIDIA is
Right. I
trying to
think
catch up with them.
Nvidia, yeah, it's catching up.
Where
but
they passed
regardless,
them recently. They're going back and forth, but they've been the forefront runner, in that top spot for a long time to have something like this, which is avoidable, happen, right? So
right?
not to
Yeah,
like interrupt,
almost.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. So almost every operating system, right? So every PC or laptop that's running in the federal sector, government sector, is probably a Windows, like not all, like 98%. Let's say 98, right? Are running Windows products, Microsoft products, and um, to say that they're, I don't know how more intertwined they can be, right? When it comes to the sharing of information to the, I don't know, like it's almost as though they are a government entity themselves. So yeah, to say that the loss of encryption key to the monitoring of systems, right? How long was China in the systems with? I think
Mhm.
they believed them to have been there for months. It was a persistent presence to, it's like what's going on with your monitoring, as well as what have you done, what are the steps you've done to mitigate risk for the near term, right? What else is out there? And do you know what else you've lost potentially to foreign and state actors? What are the vulnerabilities? Are you not taking care of? What 0 days may be approaching? So there's a lot on their plate. And like you said, if they were a small to mid-sized company, I would think that they'd be overwhelmed. But to be Microsoft, you have the funding, you have the talent to ensure that this does not happen again. So I would hate to see another breach in the near future, because then it'll go from a backhanded compliment to just and anger
Yeah,
from our congressmen and women. So
yeah.
we'll see
And I
what the
don't know if
future
it's a
holds.
backhand. I don't know if it's a backhanded compliment or it's just that there's so much money involved between the government and Microsoft that they're not going to go out and do a witch hunt on this guy. But like you're saying, if there's a second one that comes out recently, it's a slippery slope.
Right, right, and I don't think it would be a matter of necessarily. I think it would be more of a lift and shift if it were to happen,
Mm.
right? It wouldn't be like we fire Microsoft, but no, Microsoft needs to fire somebody in order
Mm.
for us to feel comfortable with you continue these contracts and
Yeah.
things of that nature. So
Yep.
there's a lot of pressure on Microsoft's side. So, but they can handle it. I mean, they're
Yeah.
again, they're one of the highest grossing companies on the planet, so
Hmm.
they can always buy more talent or purchase or acquire businesses that can then bring in the proper culture and things of that nature, which it shouldn't be the
Yeah.
way that things happen, right? You shouldn't acquire things in order to shield or protect yourself. But in Microsoft's case, if they are lacking something,
Yeah.
they could acquire that talent through acquisitions and things of that nature. So there's a lot to be said there. So we'll see what the future holds. But thank you for tuning in for this episode. Again, it'll be me and Daniel all week long. Monday, Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. I'm not sure if that'll be a new one or a returning episode. And then Fridays, everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So continue to tune in. Help us to get to 500 subs. Stay safe. Stay secure.